Let them in.
Yep. All right. We got people coming on. We got people. We're live. Live from New York City. It's Wednesday night.
What's going on, people?
What's up, everybody? Where's the energy?
Hey,
What up?
There we go.
Patric's got the best, I think the best situation going on right now between all of us. Well, I don't know. It might be a toss up between Alfredo and Patric. Actually, Alfredo looks like he's got a good situation going on there with a little one.
Alfredo, yeah, look at that. He's got like, he's got a.
Dude, that's dad
nested.
duty. That's dad duty. Look at that.
Yeah, guys, my
Right
baby
on.
came early, and she just got home from the NIC unit, so super excited.
Wow, man, that's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, congrats, dude.
Very cool. When was the baby born?
So she was born November 1st, and she was born at 7 months, almost 8. So she checked into the NIC unit for about since yesterday, a little over a month.
Wow,
Yeah, so she's doing good.
that's amazing, man. What an awesome ending to that. I know that must have been pretty stressful there for a while, but to finally have her home must feel amazing, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know if you're still looking for a name, but LeadSnap is actually a really good name for a girl.
Awesome.
I'm just making a post here. Well, that counts as a win, right? That's it. That's a big win. We'll start off with some wins.
I got a win.
Yeah.
So I actually utilized the LeadSnap. Jeff, I sent you a video, a question. I don't know if you got it, but utilizing the LeadSnap geo maps. Actually, I'm about to skip, hop, and a jump. I just did it. The guy just finalizing the details. But I believe I got the job on Upwork based on the heat map big time. The whole competitor, showing where you're ranking, nothing, what your competitors are doing, what they have, what you don't have. So pretty cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's powerful, man.
Yep.
It's really powerful. It's certainly not the first time we've heard that story with it's helped people close a lot of deals. So that's awesome, man.
Mhm.
And just in time, because it sounds like you're gonna have some more bills, maybe. Cool. All right. Who else has got some wins? Devin, did you get your heat turned on?
Yeah, it's finally above 50 degrees for
That's
the
awesome,
first
man.
night in the
Congrats.
house. So.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. All right. Anybody else in the group? I'd love to, I'm going to start this off each time this way. I just want you guys, I want to try to create the environment where it's easier for you guys to connect with each other. So throw in the chat where you guys are from, and then maybe, maybe you're in the same city or you'll be going to that same place. Anybody that is in New York City, assuming you're not crazy, love to, maybe possibly meet up while we're here. We're probably going to try to carve off. I've had a few people reach out to me. So I think we're going to try to carve off a night to have a couple of drinks, maybe get some dinner as a group. We actually did that with Devin in Vegas one time, which is really cool to connect with some people. Yeah, this is for me. This is awesome. This is a win. We're here for 5 days. This is the first time I've ever been to New York City. So we're just a couple blocks away from Times Square, and we just walked over there, which is really cool. And I have been told that if I can make it here, that I can make it anywhere. So this is going to be a good test. The stakes couldn't be higher, but I'm pretty excited. So yeah. All right. Jeff, we got any more wins in any of the chats? You got this stuff locked down here? Jeff is muted. Asked to unmute. Jeff refuses to
I
unmute.
can't. I got so much real estate here. My mouse doesn't go fast
I know.
enough.
I got to get you another monitor over there, huh?
Yeah, that's why I need another one. Yeah, I don't see any other wins in the chat.
Okay.
What
We're
win?
not a winning bunch this week.
Yeah, I guess
I'll just share how much I'm loving the heat map software. Honestly, I don't know if anybody's felt like this. I consider myself fairly new at this still. I'm only 2 years old with this, but honestly, there's a lot of these things that we do because experts like Patrick and William and other people that we follow say these are the things that do, and data shows to do this and do that, and we're all just guessing at this stuff. Like honestly, a lot of it's guessing, looking to see what the data is, and it is so refreshing to finally see a lot of things that are paying off. And almost the heat map software, and Patrick, maybe it's just me, but the heat map software, I mean, it's showing improvements in short periods of time, like only 5 days. So I optimized the client's GMB, went over 5 days later, and we're already seeing results happen just from that one activity. And it's amazing to be able to go and post that on social media and then also send it to your client, because it just builds, like, honestly, I've struggled my whole time with building trust with people. It's not that I don't trust my skill set or having people in my back pocket that can help me, but it's how do I, besides talking, show that they can trust me? And the heat map software is an automatic home run.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. It really paints the picture. It does a lot of different things, right? It paints the picture of how we're doing. It gives us an action plan to kind of get hyper local with how to attack things, right? I mean, and it keeps us up to date on things that are changing. We're guilty within our own agency of not monitoring it enough. And, we've been kind of building out some dashboards so that we can keep track of things, but it's absolutely killer. If you guys aren't taking advantage of it, I highly recommend it. I know that a lot of people tune in who don't have accounts, and that's cool. You guys are welcome. You guys are welcome to jump in here. But if you're trying to grow this business, the point of creating these tools was they're advantageous for us, right? And when you hear these stories like Spencer and Alfredo, like this story is one. Even if you look on our site on LeadSnap.com and look through the testimonials, there's over 100 of there, and I would say probably 75% of them are related to that heat map with closing deals. So it's a great thing this month. Anyone with account, we've got unlimited for the rest of the year, unlimited heat maps. So I encourage you guys to jump in it. You got a free 15 days to use it. You could potentially close a deal in the first 2 weeks using software. I see that there's actually a few more wins. It looks like Graham had a win, 3K per month client, SEO client he closed, which is awesome. Just kind of running through this where everybody's at. We got Chuck in Renton, Washington. Alfredo is out in California with his new baby. Neil is down and enjoying the weather in Sarasota. We've got Devin, who is enjoying his new furnace gas heat in Stillwater, Oklahoma. We got Sydney. Yep. All right, cool. We got Patrick in the Bay Area. Wait, that software has a built-in GMB ranking help. Yep. I guess that's Alfredo. We're talking about the heat map, right? So yeah, your ability to kind of see your rankings and then build a strategy based on those results. So that's kind of what we're going through. And I'm actually going to go through some of that today, because I know there's been a lot of requests around the heat map and how to pitch it. So I'm going to do a little bit of that today. So Alfredo, I know that you just signed up, man. We're really, really excited to have you, man, and have you be a part of the community. He says, I have a few newbie questions about the CRM and onboarding. If you don't have an account, you're really missing out for real big time. Appreciate that, man. That's awesome to hear. Yeah, man, just throw your newbie questions in the chat. Anybody, look, guys, we're all at different spots. And one thing that I want with this group is it to be kind of judgment free. Obviously, there's going to be topics that are going to be more focused on advanced techniques, and there's going to be some that are intermediary, and there's going to be beginner stuff. We're all kind of like at some spot in there. And I'll tell you guys, you know, it's only like, it hasn't even been 6 years. It's been 5 years, 5.5 years since I started this business. Like prior to that, I had no business model at all with this, right? So things can happen really quick, and we've been in a great spot for several years. And I don't attribute that to like some superpower. It's just like kind of hard work and not getting distracted by things and really kind of focusing down on things. And that's something that we all have the ability to do. You don't have to go to like be a brain surgeon to make brain surgeon money, right? Which is, it's kind of crazy. And I've met some of those guys and they're completely stressed out. So loving this business model, it's something that we can just kind of like do again and again. Once you get to $500 and, you know, like, hey, do the same thing to get to 1,000, do the same thing again to get to 2,000, right? It's just, it's that easy. We don't have to make it so complicated. And sometimes it can get boring because it's repetitive, but I'll tell you what's not boring is being able to travel around the world like this. Like we're here for 5 days and we're going to Europe for a month. And this is the business model that kind of led us to do this. This business model bankrolled the software that you guys, many of you guys are using too. So it can open up a lot of doors for you guys. We got Jeff from Austin, Texas. JP, my last rev share client, sold his company last week, got 2 clients and about to launch a service company for a franchise. That guy's a shaker and a mover, guys. You guys need to connect with JP. We got Graham. I was literally walking out the door. Doctor asked me to leave him a Google review. One thing led to another. We know how that one goes. Yeah, it's such a great opening. You know, I did. So I moved this last week, and this company, Public Storage, they have all our stuff, and they have like 4.9 stars, and they have like 400 reviews. And the place I thought was absolutely terrible. Like, it was just like the worst experience, and I left them a bad review. And the next day I had to go in there. Like part of the reason that I didn't like the place is I felt like there was like, it was in the ghetto and there's like homeless people that were wandering through into the area. And I felt like one of them kind of like looked over my shoulder at my code when I was just like, this guy's clearly staring at the keypad. So I went in there to change my code, and they had my review printed out on the table, and they're like, what's your name? And I'm like, yeah, it's Patrick Shannon. And then she like picks this up and she's like, oh yeah, I saw your review, which was like a terrible review. I actually said that the staff was really nice. And then they've gone so far to follow up. So today they called to find out, like I didn't answer the call, but they called and left a voicemail about this. And I was really kind of impressed with their follow-up for the review game. Some of the same problems still exist, but they are just like some storage company, but what they've done is like Public Storage is all over the country, right? And they've put policies in place to make sure that things move forward and that they are kind of watching this. And we can use this when you guys see stuff like this. It's easy to just kind of let it go, but it's an example. And there's reasons that places like this have been able to scale across the country, right? They've got structure in place. That's the benefit of the franchises, like what JP is talking about here, is like franchises have solved the problem, and we can use those as an example. And we need to be not only doing that in our business, but like having our clients follow some of this stuff, right? With this platform that you guys have, just sticking to reputation management, we hope to have our notification stuff back here in the next week or so. We've run into a number of bugs with the GMB module that we've been kind of fixing. I know that sometimes there's like some duplicates showing up, but like, you know, just a couple of small issues here. We've had a lot of big changes with getting the API back, and things are different from Google. Pretty soon you guys will be able to have the notifications. And I think it's really smart, especially like Spencer, I know that you've got your Google My Business or your reputation management. Spencer's been selling that a little bit. Like some of this I think should come with consulting, right? It's easy to just like turn this on and be like, hey, okay, you've paid for reputation management. You're good to go. That's one way to do it. And they're not going to stick around if they're not successful. And so having somebody on your team that's kind of like paying attention to client success and monitoring this is a really important thing. And it's something that we haven't really done in our agency. You know, I used to get these calls, like I would get a call from one of our clients after a few months. And it was like, it kind of felt like I was playing Russian roulette, because like the call would come in and I'd be like, I'd see the name and I'd be like, oh shoot, man, like this guy, well, I have no idea what's going on. Like, is this guy happy? Is he upset? And he'd be like, hey, you guys are crushing it. This is awesome. They're like, oh yeah, I saw that your calls have been going up. That's great, man. We've been working hard over here. And you know, we have to have this stuff monitoring it. It's gone the other way too. You know, we've had clients that reach out to us and are like, hey, my leads have fallen off. And what you don't want is you don't want that to be news to you, right? You want to put stuff in place. I've talked about measuring things. These are the things that you guys have to measure. And it takes discipline. And it's these little things that matter, right? Spending the time to plan out your week means that you get to be more productive during the week, right? Measuring things and paying attention to the numbers. And guys, like we hire the VAs to do backlinks for us and all kinds of stuff like that. I've got people on my team that their job is to update like the metric sheets for us, because I want that stuff all the time. I mentioned this to you guys 2 weeks ago. So our North Star metric that we're going to be focusing on to start with is the amount of leads per paying client. I know that if I move that number up and I continuously move that number up, my business is going in the right direction, right? I don't know that that will be what it is long-term, but I know putting something in place and paying attention to it and measuring it, we're going to increase it. And everyone on our team is going to know what that number is, right? So the way we structured our team, and this is important, like when you guys are building this, I know that one of the questions we wanted to go over was like how to scale this business. And I thought about this a little bit, and I thought about the times when we were going through things where we made a change that really made a difference. Okay. So one of those was like, kind of like I was reading through these business books. I've mentioned these books, and I know a lot of you guys have read through them, and it's good to maybe reread things, because the value of a book is based on like where you are at where you are mentally at the time you read it. And you may not be ready for some of the books that I recommended, but going back through them, maybe you'll be ready the second time, or maybe it'll sink in deeper. So the E-Myth Revisited and Traction. And I started thinking about how my business was very flat. And that's probably how your guys is. A lot of your guys is, right? Where whenever someone across, like whatever they are, they're the backlink or they're content writer, they're all coming to you. So there's like this level, and then there's you, right? So that's a problem. If you want to scale this thing, if you want to pull yourself out of the business, it can't be flat. So what you need to be looking for, and this is why I think it's important when you're hiring to do the logic test and that type of stuff that I had mentioned before, is like, get the right person in there. And it may be that like based on their results that they're a little bit overqualified for what you need them. So one of our managers, who is on our team, I hired him to do like boring, repetitive stuff. And I didn't like that was going to be his initial test, right? And I'm always hoping that someone is way more than that. And that was the case with this person. And I was like, I've got to get this person into a management position. So now we have 3 managers in our agency that delegate, and they handle a lot of this stuff. When we do a meeting every Monday, and we go over the issues that we're having, we talk about what was done during the week, we celebrate our wins, right? We have like, they really, and I do too, but there's like a social, like the first like 10 minutes is just social. It's not really work talk. Like, what did you do? Let's just like make sure that we're connecting as people, right? And I encourage you guys, I've told you guys this time and time again. I know some of you guys are new though, like treat these people like people, right? Treat them like humans. Like when you do that, then you can really start to build something. These people are not going to want to work for you if you're kind of like treating even that name like a VA. Like I had a conversation with our team about a month ago, and I'm like, let's stop using that name within our company. These are team members. These are people. VAs. To me, there's this kind of like disposable connotation towards it, which like, yes, the people that we're hiring from these overseas, there's a lot of people waiting in line that would love to get these positions behind them, but that doesn't mean that we need to treat them that way, right? So getting these people and then making sure that the communication lines are open. I was talking about this in our Monday call 2 days ago. Like you should have almost like a bottom up where like the feedback's coming up, right? From whoever the people that are like doing your backlinks, you talk to them, find out like, what can we do to improve the system? A lot of the stuff that has improved our business has come by creating those communication lines. You need to make it clear that these people are not going to be punished. You're not going to have the kill the messenger attitude. If they point out something, there's an issue, you need to kind of bite your tongue and thank them for pointing this out. Like it's there, time and time again, people have brought things to my attention that I like, shit, I did not want to hear that. That is awful, but it needed to be said. And I've got a team in place that understands this dynamic enough. And it's like, it's not a me versus the world. Like it's a culture that we're all kind of like working on this together. And that's something that had to be built. That leadership is important. And it's got to come from the top down, but you have to respect the people, everyone from kind of the bottom up, right? Does that make sense? So I see some questions rolling in here. And I see Spencer. I just got off a call like this. Spencer, I don't know what I've been over here rambling for 10 minutes. I'm not sure what.
You're just talking about, you're talking about that call that where you're kind of,
Oh.
you're not sure if it's going to be a positive call or a negative call. So
Yeah.
This client, we're behind due to that virus in Pakistan. With my team, we're behind on the site build, and he started been communicating the best I could through Messenger, and then he called. I missed his call, and I dreaded calling him back because I was like, "Oh shit, is this guy pissed about that?" And he's like, "Oh, bro, I wasn't even talking about calling to talk about that. I was calling because Google's calling." I'm like, "What do you mean Google's calling?"
Yeah.
Because and it was really just people are calling because they're now finding him on Google after a GMB optimization. So it was a positive call, but I dreaded it just like yourself.
Yeah, that's like that's feedback. Like if you guys are in that situation and your stomach turns when you see that number come in, then like there's an issue. And like I'm not saying that we haven't had that issue or we don't have that issue, but it's like first thing is identify it. The next thing is like, what are you going to do to fix it? Right. I've got Jeff on my team, and he's touches base with our clients on a monthly basis. And I didn't have time to do that. And when we started having him do that, he was able to expand the revenue of our existing clients quite a bit. Right. He like one client, we had a client for $1,500 a month that's now paying us $13,000 a month. And that was like a lot of Jeff's effort from like cultivating that relationship, talking to them, knowing where we are. He monitors the stuff. One of the things that we're building out, I mentioned this in the previous calls, is we're building out a reporting system, because I've identified this in my agency, this weakness of, in the reports you can schedule them. You can have them be emailed to, branded, all sorts of different things. You can control the frequency of when those go out, and you can build it from different pieces across the entire system, right? Which is awesome, because it's like we have this software that has all these different pieces, and a lot of them are related, but building out reporting that is going to kind of blend this stuff and put it right in front of you based on what matters to you and have comparison built into it, I think is going to be huge. I don't really know of other software that's out there that's like doing this, where it's like, hey, here's your heat map average for these like 6 companies versus what it was a month ago or 12 months ago. If I want to see like whatever, like the phone calls, the leads, all this stuff. Here's your Google Analytics shop, putting that all in one place and allowing you guys to kind of customize and build this report. I know it's something that we need desperately in our agency. And I think as you guys scale, you get, past like 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 sites, it gets hard to keep track of these things and have like, but that doesn't mean that it's not important. It's 100% important. And the lack of information is why your stomach turns when that call comes in, because if you know your numbers and everything's cool, then like you're like, okay, this guy's calling up to compliment. I know he's happy, right? Or you're initiating the call before it happens, where it's like, hey, I know that your lead count has gone down. I just want you, like, if they hear it from you first, there's a lot of like trust and like they're assuming that you're proactive because you noticed it and reported it to them, right? So, yeah, really important stuff. Okay, cool. Patric, can you talk about how you qualify a potential client on the phone to find out if you want to work with them. Like the business owner, like can the business owner handle more calls? So here's what I've learned is you're going to run into a bunch of different business owners, and it's really, so like playing poker for a living for 10 years, like a lot of times I can identify, I'm like, this seems like this person is not the right person. Like it just like there's a feeling, but a lot of times I'm wrong still. And someone will talk a good game, and I might have my doubts, but really what happens is that like we find out like when it's time to pay and during the trial, are they answering the phone, right? And it's with getting a lot of our clients from referrals, I think we get a lot more qualified clients. They come in trusting us. They're established business owners. Some of the things I look for are, how many years they've been in business, how many people they have on their crew. I like to look at the reviews. I want to talk to them. I like to ask them why they're doing this. Like, why did you start this business? If they have a big why and they're clear on it and they have a vision of where they want to go, I love to hear that. Like if this person's like, hey, I want to take over the town. If they have references that are, if they're like talking about the impact that they have on people, I think that's a really good sign, right? If they're talking about like, I've been growing and like we've had a lot of referrals that are coming in, and it's been word of mouth, and we've like continued to grow through. Those are good signs, right? Because they're probably doing something right. If you start sending them calls and they're not answering those calls, then that's an issue, right? If they're it's kind of like hard to, you just kind of start to smell it a little bit, I guess is like a good way to say it. When I was playing poker for a living, there would be people that would sit down and I could just kind of look at them and I'd be like, that person probably doesn't belong here, right? It's just like you kind of have to get some reps under your belt before you can really start to feel it. Jeff, I think this is an area that we've kind of worked on a lot. Do you have anything you'd want to contribute to this? Your thoughts on how you're qualifying people?
Yeah, I'm trying to go for bigger players. I mean, the fact is that we have assets that are, going to require a higher level business owner, and others that are kind of run of the mill and not so exciting. The lead value is much lower and all of that. So it kind of depends on what I'm prospecting for. But overall, I'm trying to go for business owners that have the ability and the desire to expand. So that's a real tough one, especially in today's market. I mean, just the way everything has played out, it's made it really tough for these guys. But I know I'm talking to the wrong person if they're like, well, what, I don't like paying for these leads if I'm already maxed out and I can't handle the business. It's like, well, I mean, that's your problem. You hire. Like, I'm not going to hire employees for you. You figure that part of it out. I'm just here to give you the leads. So it's really kind of a mindset, and like Patrick said, an intuition. Like, I'm more inclined to give people a shot because I have a lot of responsibilities that I'm trying to fulfill, and I can't get stuck on if it's whatever if it's like something high end, it's producing a lot, I'll spend a lot more time on that. If it's lower end, it's not really producing that much. I'm just trying to get kind of a warm body in there so that somebody's taking the leads and kind of cultivate them as we come up. I'll give it a little bit less attention, and maybe I don't find the right person right off the bat, but I'm working harder on the stuff that's higher level and producing. So I have to weigh all those things and kind of be as productive and add to the bottom line as best as I can in the given moment. So, that's the real benefit of being able to work with somebody like Patrick and the agency, is that we have enough, assets to sell that, one is not going to kill us. Like, we lost a pretty big client last month, and it's like, at the end of the day, it all just kind of like washes out. We got a couple new ones. We lost one, like whatever. You don't have just 3 websites, so you have 300. It really gives you a lot more breathing room when something goes wonky and a client blows out on you, which a lot of clients we've had for several years, and before I came on with Patric, long before that. But overall, we're trying to grow as much as we can, and we have a lot of stuff that's in inventory that needs to be sold. So it's just a matter of really tuning into what the business owners are dealing with right now. And you have the right kind of person if they're like, well, if they start talking about how they're hiring and that, yeah, I'm having trouble, but I'm going to figure it out, then you're kind of talking to the right type of person. If they're making excuses or playing victim or whatever, and they're just like, well, I just don't see how to make the numbers work. It's like, well, then I don't see how to have a relationship with you. Actually,
Yeah, you guys, I think it's important to always be on the lookout for that victim mentality. You're going to notice it like when you're hiring and when you're looking for the client. Like that's just someone who is not going to be geared up for success when they're making excuses with whatever. Like it's like it like if the person has a brilliant interview, but I pick up on some victim mentality, there's like zero spot for them. It's just something I don't tolerate at all in my life and my company. And I'm put myself inside of a bubble where when I hear it, it's like, whoa, it's shocking that exists. And it kind of like takes me back. But you'll pick up on these clients that are, if something doesn't go their way and they're like immediately assigning blame, then it's like, it's going to drip into their entire life, and there's going to be problems.
Yeah, like it's kind of crazy. Like it's almost, you have to like coach your client, like, hey, you need to get ready for growth. It's like they can't envision, like, I remember one of my first clients was a garage door guy in Kansas City. It was just him. And in under a year, I took him to like 9 or 10 trucks. And he was just like blown away. Like he never envisioned ever hiring like extra technicians, a full like call center staff, like nothing. It's almost like I had to like show him like the huge picture of like that growth. It's a weird concept for a lot of business owners for some reason.
Yeah. These guys, maybe a lot of you guys fallen in the same boat before you got started with this, where you can't see a bigger picture and they don't believe in themselves enough. And I love that. If you've got some like scrappy business owner who's an underdog and it's like, he's got I'll just do whatever it takes to be successful, then like, I will be super patient with that person, because ultimately what we're doing is not just like trying to make as much money as possible. We're trying to have an impact on these people. And those are the people that I love. We had a guy in Raleigh a few years ago. And when he hired us, he threw his last $1,500 into his like that was his, all his money. Like, and I was like, I'm never going to let this dude down. Like we're going to just absolutely kill it for this guy. His truck was getting repossessed and he was going to get forced out of his apartment. And, it must've been 8 or 10 months later, he had like 3 trucks. And I think since then he's bought a house like for himself. Like everything has changed. And sometimes you just get that sense from these people that they're going to do whatever it takes to make it work. And I would encourage you guys to have their back in that situation. And, I get it. If you have $0 and you've got leads coming in, you don't want to wait on this person, but maybe in the beginning, you've got to make some different decisions, but as things move on, like, and you stop, when you start really focusing on the impact, that's where you start to get a lot of referrals, and that's where you start to crush it for these people. And then like you get to bigger numbers a lot faster if that's where your mindset is. That's what I've learned, is like, it's just like when you're trying to make a sale and you're desperate, like that's a much harder sale than when you walk away. We had a guy, and I want you guys to take from this. So like, I was on William's call and he asked, one of the people on the call asked how poker had contributed to business. And I thought about it a lot in the past, but it has contributed a lot. And that doesn't mean that, like, I don't encourage you guys to do this, but let's talk about some of the stuff. So we had a guy this week, my brother-in-law, he has a pool cleaning company in Vegas, and never a niche that I would want to go into, but I did it for him. And then he decided at some point, like he made a series of really good decisions where like, it's just not worth his time to do that anymore. But now we have the site, and it's like one of the worst in our portfolio because it's in this like pool cleaning niche. And this guy we're just trying to get pay per lead on this thing because it produces leads and I don't want to throw them away. And Jeff and I were kind of like going back through this guy. Jeff came over to Nashville and was hanging out for a week. And so originally this guy says he's not closing any deals, which like, this is where you need to like put your thinking cap on. And like, does this ring true to you? Pool cleaning. That is a very easy thing. He's not selling cars, right? He's not selling like swimming pools or space shuttles. Can you be the person that appears to be competent? These people are not going to shop around for a long time for their pool cleaner. It's almost the same service. They know how much it costs. It's always going to be like between like $80 and $120 for like a residential. Like that's probably like 95%. Like there's not going to be a lot of shopping around. This guy's really good on the phone, right? That was another thing that we knew, that he was great on the phone. So it wasn't making sense that he wasn't closing deals, right? So Jeff and I are talking and this guy's like, hey, I want to pay, we were trying to get $25 per lead for the leads in the pool cleaning. And this guy says, I want to pay $25 for a closed deal. And I'm like talking to Jeff. Jeff and I are sitting on my couch discussing this. We're like, first of all, if he's doing a closed deal, the number is going to be much higher. And like, he's saying he's not closing, which we didn't believe. And then we're like, okay, that's like, Jeff, I don't know. You had the conversation with him. What did you end up telling him? You told him like, hey, this is not the right deal. What was the phrasing on how you delivered that message to him?
No, let me check my text because that was like 48 hours ago. Hang on one sec.
It was something to the effect of, we're not the right, like, that's cool, man. This is what it is. We're going to walk away. And when you're desperate, you can't have that. Like, and these guys are going to bully you and push you around if they think you're beginners. And I actually asked Jeff, like in the middle of this conversation that he's texting, I was like, does this guy think we're amateurs? And then Jeff's response was, he doesn't anymore, because we were just like walked away. We're just like, all right, we're like, you're not the right person for us. And then like the next day, this guy reaches out. Okay, so I'd love to hear, what are your guys' thoughts? Just throw them in the chat. What are your guys' thoughts of this at this point? Because in my mind, like it was crystal clear what was going on. So this guy says he's not closing leads. We say he's not the right person. Then he reaches back out. What's the assumptions that we can make, right? This guy is lying. It's clear as day to me that this guy is lying. Why is he reaching back out if he's not closing deals? There's no value in this. And then he's still pushing for he's still pushing for a closed deal, which is like, okay, why does he care that we're if he's not closing any deals, then us walking away from him, it doesn't matter because he's not got any value from it, right? But he reached back. So now we know that he's lying. Like that in my mind, I was like, you're a liar, like instantly that decision. And I feel certain about it. And then, I think Jeff, did he come back again or like?
Well, he said, we had a bunch of witty banter back and forth. And then he says, oh, okay, thanks anyway. Good luck on your search. If things change, let me know. Happy holidays. So I said, no worries. Happy holidays. And then the next day he's like, now, roughly how many leads are we looking at a month for, season versus non-season? That's when Patrick and I were talking. So then I told him that, and he's like, well, can you do less on the leads that don't close? And then I just said, no, like we only do per lead deals on a couple of things. I'd already told him we generate leads nationwide and kind of qualified us as a higher level player. And he hasn't come back since then. So
honestly, I don't want anything to do with it, this guy at this point, because he's like he showed his hand essentially. He was like, I don't trust him. I don't trust him anymore. And like, there's no easy way to answer your question about how to qualify people. So I think kind of giving some examples and looking at the logic and the mindset of what we're looking for, right? So let's do like here's an example, right? There's a lot that can be, and like this is like really related to poker, but this is some of the value that I pulled through this that I apply to my life on a regular basis. Let's say you're like driving through like a nice neighborhood and you see a stake in the front of someone's yard, like with a big thick chain on it, right? So you're probably going to think like, like in this house has like a backyard, obviously, because this neighborhood's nice. So you probably think like, okay, this person has like a dog, right? That's your first thing is like, there's a dog here. So like, what I encourage you is to take this deeper and deeper with how you're looking at things with your business, especially with your clients. Sit there and spend some time and think about the implications of this. So this is a big steak. So this is probably a big dog, right? And it's in the front yard instead of the backyard. So this person probably wants people to know that they have a dog, which means there's probably somebody inside, there's something that they value inside their house. Also means they probably don't have an alarm on their house, right? We can take this like really, really deep. And when someone exposes information like this to you in your business and in one of your clients and you're having these conversations, just take some time and think about it. You'll get better at this stuff over time, but there is so much information that's a part of this sales process that is like, it's hard to teach because of this. I think there's a lot of information that you guys aren't always deducing from. And if you just kind of like practice this again and again, then like when this guy said that, like, I don't know, Jeff, if it was obvious to you, but as soon as he said it, I was like, nope, like that's bullshit. This guy's done, right? We're done with him. And I think some of you guys, you'll chase that guy for a little while. You'll go back and forth and like, you're not, and that's part of the client qualification is being able to kind of smell that. And it's going to take some reps, right? So that's kind of, we're going full circle back to the beginning. It's going to take some reps to be able to do that. But one of the sayings that I am like in love with right now, this quote that I heard a while ago, is like learning doesn't come from experience. It comes from the reflection of experience. And you get to choose how long you reflect on that. So when something happens, take your time. This is why like writing about it, journaling about it, thinking about it, you can learn so much faster and don't just like throw it away. Okay, cool. So JP is saying, see if he's on Home Advisor and call his profile. Yeah, there's a lot of different fun stuff we could do with this guy. But I've got to move on from this guy. And you know, I don't know, maybe when I'm super wealthy, I can just play games all day, but I've got some like pretty aggressive goals. JP, I'd love to talk to you, man. And I know that we have, what do we got? We got about 15 minutes left. All right. JP, I know that you kind of got a different mentality on how you're running this same business model. And this is not something that we had planned. So if you're not cool with this, JP also has a Discord channel. It's a paid channel. There's a lot of really cool stuff that's going on in there. I saw he made a post the other day, and I don't know if you guys are contributing to this, where like it's hard to keep up with questions that are coming in, where people are asking you different levels. So I'm not requesting that you guys go and try to like drill him for additional advice after the call. Like he may be nice enough to answer that, but he has a program. It's really, really cheap. You can jump in there. There's chat going in there like all the time with great information. So I hope that was cool that I shared that, JP.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So let's talk about some of your processes. What are some of you go and JP doesn't build websites. He basically just like has a standalone GMB, right? So you set up your GMB. What are some of the high level things that you do as a part of your ranking process for getting the results that you've gotten with these GMBs?
What's my process to rank them?
Yeah, like for us, we're building out our GMB, and then we're always trying to get reviews. We get a bunch of citations. You know, we're basically using keywords within our reviews. We build links. We've built links directly to the GMB in the past. These are some of the things we've done. We've geotagged the photos in the past. We've named the photos. We've had like on our websites, we'll add pages to the website that talk about the like areas within the heat map that we really want to target. I'm just curious as to some of the stuff that you might be doing that we're not doing that you think is really valuable that you're willing to share with the group.
Sure. So my whole methodology for ranking is something that I call TLC. It stands for traffic, links, and content. You can have one more than the other, but lately I've been focusing on content. So Google has something called Google justifications, where if you've ever seen like if you do a search and then you'll see like an icon that says it's pulling from products or it's pulling from services or it's pulling from your website. Those are the main things that I'm focusing on right now. I haven't built a citation or a press release or a geotag for probably like 2 years. So that's kind of been my main focus. I can't really get into a lot of like my review process just because FTC is kind of knocking down on people right now. I don't really want to share that.
I don't. I've kind of done the same thing. I know that people have asked me how we get our reviews and stuff. So like when you have a client, we have the reputation management to bring it in, and then I never teach people anything before that, but like obviously we're finding a way to get reviews.
Yeah, I would say for reviews, like you have to coach your customers. Like, hey, if your technician goes on site to a customer, ask for the customer to leave a review, asking them like what city they were in, what type of service that they ordered from you, and then to leave a photo in the review. So that way it's a little bit more natural and you're getting that information that you want. Another thing too, like people freak out about 1-star reviews and like, oh my God, this is gonna hurt my reputation. You'd be surprised how many fucking keywords customers are throwing in those 1-star reviews or writing these big long paragraphs. Like, don't get rid of those, because those reviews are probably actually helping you out with your rankings.
Right. They also make it look more organic too. If you have like the storage place I was talking about, that is terrible, but they have 397 5-star reviews and like no other ones. You know, it doesn't look real.
So a lot of my stuff too, like I have my own test network. I have about 200 listings in a fake city in the Midwest I've had since 2013. So I use that for testing different things. But I don't do like a lot of the normal stuff that people teach, like geotagging. I haven't done geotagging in probably 3 years. I haven't done citations in quite a while. Sometimes I'll do citations if it's like a pretty big city, but for some of like the suburb cities, I don't build anything. So most of it is with content with my site. I usually just use the free site that they give you. So
The Google site.
Yeah.
So I've noticed just kind of through my own research and playing around, a lot of those Google sites, they end up ranking really well. Like, and they're like, there's not much to them, you know?
Yeah, I'll give everyone a hint. Like, in order for you to kind of help you rank some of those, if you bold the text of where you would normally put like an H2, that will help you.
Yeah. So look, guys, you guys want more of the stuff, you might want to check out JP's thing if he's willing to let you guys in. It's a really cool group of people. They seem like they're really
we got about maybe 200 people in there.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So as promised, I want to dive into the heat map and give some strategies that I would do for pitching this. And I've done this a few times, but let's do it again. I will share my screen, and it always disappears. All right. Can you guys see my screen? Yep. All right, cool. I got my chat on here. Hold on one second. Let's get that out of the way. All right, cool. All right. So one of the best strategies, I think, is to go inside groups and to kind of like find somebody that is a shaker and a mover inside the group, somebody that is contributing a lot of value, right? So I have this Facebook group that I've been in, and it just serves as a good example. Let me pull this up on another screen real quick. 1 second, guys. So you like the key in this strategy, and I think Spencer's been using this, and Spencer actually did this to the point where his account got, can't exactly remember what happened. Your account got like partially banned or something. He said his Facebook account, he sent me a message on Facebook saying his Facebook account got banned. So I was confused, but I think maybe his ability to post in groups.
Yeah, that's what happened, Patrick. So normally in the past, Facebook will give you a little bit of a warning that you're spamming groups, and they didn't. So combined with posting for GMBs and some certain city buy-sell trade groups, is trying to get addresses, as well as using this strategy. I got banned for about 2 weeks from posting in groups.
Yeah, your first occurrence is like 24 hours, and then it goes to like 3 days, and then 7 days, and then like 30 days.
This was a 14-day ban, and it was, I mean, it's been months since I got banned previously, probably a year.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm on my like 4th account, so.
They're getting more aggressive with their penalties, huh? I am trying to find this group. Okay, here's one, Home Advisor Pros. Okay, so this is a group that I don't really know a lot about. There's 12,000 people in here though. So I like to find groups like this. And so this is Home Advisor Pros, right? So these are, I think, people that are working for this terrible company, Home Advisor, and they're like kind of sharing their experience. I'm not sure how it would play out in this group, but we'll just use this as an example, right? So this guy right here, I'm just randomly picking someone. So here's what I would want to do is I would want to do some research and pay attention to the group, chip in value here and there, like have a lead up period to doing this too would probably be good. So if I was going to interact with this, I guess this is RR, so backwards, this RR drywall. So maybe like I will like make some compliments on this stuff. And look, this RR drywall guy is actually pretty active in this group, it looks like. So this could be a good one. Like, just like do it in a way that don't be all cheesy about it. Be like, hey man, it's just like awesome drywall, right? Like don't do it that way, but get in there and you know, compliment him. Like this is awesome work. It looks like you have a good team, like something like this. So like just try to kind of like disguise it a little bit. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to find out more about this guy, right? So he's got 112 people. He looks like he's based out of Arizona. We've got his email address. That looks like a real email address to me, which is, that's pretty cool. There's probably, I guess that's probably his phone number there. Or like, I don't know how big this company is, but I'm going to assume that they're a good company just for this demonstration. Okay. So I'm going to find this guy's, I'm going to find out some information about them. We've got his website here. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to look at his website, and I would go through and read a little bit about his company. RI Drywall it's based out of Maricopa, Arizona, which I think is like it's like the place that people live inside Phoenix that's not out in the middle of nowhere, is like this massive county called Maricopa. I'm just kind of trying to get a little bit more information. If I could find out the person's name, that would be great, because I love to refer to the name in the video that I'm going to make from this. So what I'm going to do when I get this information, here's some testimonials. You could reference this. It's only one though, just a little weird. I don't know why you make a testimonial page for one, but we'll just assume he's got more and that he is good at what he does. And that's kind of what I'm trying to zone in on. So then I'm going to go to google.com/maps, and I'm going to get this guy's, there we go, right here. You saw it there for a second, the Stucco, Maricopa, Arizona. Okay, so this is his business. He's got 20 reviews on here. So here's like, this is great because we can actually let him know that we've done our research when we build this video out, and like, hey man, I saw that your testimonials page has only one review, but you actually have like 20 reviews on Google. You got to get those on there, man. It's hard to get 20 good reviews like you've done. So let's take advantage of that and make sure that gets moved onto your site. What's that?
So great business name.
Yeah, no kidding. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to get his heat map URL, right? So I'm going to be running this, and it's going to take a minute for us to run. As you guys know, we have no priority. So just so when you guys paste the share link up there, it's going to redirect. So you got to wait a minute. But once we do, we'll go back in here and I'll go over to this heat map area, and we will switch over to map URL because that's what I have, right? If I've added my GMBs to the system, then I could choose them from the drop down, but that is not the case. If you guys want a shortcut, you can always just like right click on this and it'll take you to the Google Maps thing. So drywall contractor is probably going, I'm not in this niche, but I'm going to assume that's going to be a good keyword to rank for. Okay. And I'm going to set this up as a 1 mile, 13 by 13. Okay. So that's the grid. It's kind of like down south. And one thing that's important to know, like, especially like certain cities like Phoenix, people do not like to drive all the way across the city unless they're like, it's just not how it works. It's just like kind of like LA. It's like, it's too far. It takes too long. Maybe this is where his business is ranking. I know this area right here, and there's like no people in this area. So I'm actually going to make this a little bit bigger, and I'll just assume that he's going to go after this area over here, especially as you start to go a little bit north and get into like Chandler. There's a good amount of people in here. And I just want to make sure that I'm including that. Okay. So that's the area. This is no longer 1 mile between the grid that we had set because I've changed the size of the grid and it's still using the same number of points. So there's more space between the grid now. So I'm going to start this and I'm going to let this run. So here's what you want to do is when you go, while this thing's running, you want this, when you go back to the group, what you're going to do is you're going to thank this person for their contributions to the group and say like, hey, let's pretend that this guy's name is Ricky for this RR drywall. So Ricky, like I've seen you in this home advisor group and you're always like sharing your wins and it's inspired me. And I wanted to give something back to you. And I don't want anything for this. I'm not looking for anything. I just wanted to give you, like we're headed into Christmas. I wanted to give you a gift, man, for what you've done for the group to make the group better. This is important because this is a pattern interrupt from other marketers. Other marketers are trying to pitch and they're asking for something. Don't do that. Do this. Make it seem like you're just like giving value. When you give enough value, I think it was JP who said this on a call a few weeks ago. When you give enough value, it's amazing how people will just like line up to try to pay you for this. Ricky is not going to suddenly, if you teach him all the different things that are necessary to improve his rankings, Ricky is not going to like put the drywall down and go like master SEO. Like this guy is like, he's a drywall guy. He like a lot of these people, they know how to check their email and browse the internet a little bit. That's the, like, you start talking about like this other stuff that like, you're going to lose them in the weeds. So like, they're not going to go and recreate this. And this is why it's also important for you to not get too like techie, right? The beauty of the heat map, as Spencer was saying, is like, it's really easy for business owners to like know what's what and like leave it with that. And maybe, you know, we can go through and look. It looks like this RR guy is like, he's doing pretty good so far, right? This is a pretty big area. I think it's going to start to fall off up here. His Google My Business was down here somewhere. Okay. So we don't, also what you don't want to do is don't insult them, right? Like you start to see someone that's not doing very well. It's kind of like an art to make sure that they know that you're coming from a place of like help and not like, hey, this sucks, man. You guys are doing terrible. Like that's not really what you want to do, right? We can talk about how the good rankings have influenced whatever. And if you guys have calls if you're in this niche in another city and you've done well, then like that's a huge advantage because you can use those results. And I would encourage you to do that. And I would say like, hey, here's how we're ranking in this other city. Here are the phone calls that are associated with this ranking. Here's how you are ranking in this city. It's easy for us to like understand that you're missing out on a lot of these phone calls because of that lack of ranking, right? So making these like very easy connections for these people is like, you need to say the obvious. Don't just like rely on them to come to every conclusion with this thing, right? So we can see this, as I mentioned, this is the more populated area. This down here where he's ranking really well. And this is why I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to just circle around his like middle of the desert area where no people live, because then it's like he maybe has all ones just in that area. But like, honestly, that's not going to really do, like I can rank something out in the middle of the desert and I'm not going to have anyone call, right? Just because there's ones there, but you need to be ranking well in these populated areas. And we can see that it's falling off pretty strong right now. So The fact that Ricky is posting inside of this home advisor group and sharing his wins, this is a guy that wants to grow his business. That's my like first assumption is like, this guy cares about things. He's trying to push things. He's trying to let people know what he does. He has like pride of work because he's sharing the pictures of the stuff, right? There's a lot of assumptions that we can make from that. Okay, so now we've got this grid, and this is what my pitch would look like. Hey, Ricky, I saw you in the home advisor group. I've been watching this for a long time. I don't know if you've noticed, I've commented, I've been impressed with you, man. And that's something that doesn't come easy. So what I'm doing there is like, you need to constantly be positioning yourself, right? And little phrases and little like mindset things like this is like, that's something that doesn't come easy. Like, let them know, and there's a lot of this positioning that has to take place every step of the way. And it's a hard thing, but you need to think about the implication of the things you say in these sales calls and what it means, right? So, okay, so Ricky, I wanted to help you out. Like I said, it's almost Christmas time. You've helped out a lot of people in the group. That's obvious. It's time for you to get something back. I don't want anything in return. I just want to give you some tips, some things that have worked really well for us. It's not even important that Ricky knows that you're a marketing company. I would almost leave that out. Like, he can come to his own conclusions on that piece, and it will build more trust and more value if you just if you make this seem like it's all about a gift and don't try to like subtly sneak in there that you're a marketing company, because then that just that just like changes the whole tone for him, right? Okay, so what this is, Ricky, this is a tool that we've used to really improve our rankings in a few different areas. So this is for the Google My Business area. And if you're not familiar with that, if I do a search for drywall, I think it's one word, right? Drywall contractor near me. This is the Google My Business area. This is the most important area to rank for local search. So this changes quite a bit as you move across the city. And what I've got here is I've taken your company there. It looks like you guys are kind of like in this southern part of Phoenix, and RR Drywall LLC. So I found your Google My Business listing and I ran it through our tool, right? And I did it for the term drywall contractor. And this is how you are ranking as we move across the city. So I would imagine you've positioned things down here because you're always going to rank better next to where you put it. So you can see there's only 3 spots in this, they call this the map pack, right? There's only 3 spots in this map pack. And this area down here, you're in the map, which is great. But where you start to move out of it is as we move north. And this is where things get more populated. So here's some of the strategies that I think you should do, Ricky, is like when you or your crews go out and you guys finish a job, I would just explain to the people how the reviews matter to you. And, there's a way, if you're interested, I can show you how you can just give them like a little link that they can leave a review. But like, just coach them a little bit, let them know that you have people from all over Phoenix. So it's important that they identify the area that they're in, because we're trying to build up, we're trying to build up our online presence, and we care a lot about our customers, as you've seen, as the way we've treated you. So have them mention these cities. And as they do, as they talk about these areas, especially if you can get some clients in these other ones, like in Queen Creek, right? Maybe they can mention that in a review, or like, I'm not advocating this, but we've heard of some people, mentioning, having like some of their guys mention this stuff. That is some of the things that have helped us rank better. As we've noticed, when some of the words that we want to rank for show up in those reviews, and the cities, if they show up in those reviews, this can really help move this. And as these things move from these red ones down to these green ones, you're going to notice your phone start to ring a lot more. That's what we've seen. What I would do is these ones that are 4s, these are only 1 spot away from being in the map. And these ones that are 20s and these ones that are 4s are probably going to get a similar amount of phone calls, because you're not in the top 3 in either one. These ones are closer to moving in. So I would encourage you to try to push these. You could write some content on your website about some of these things. So if I were to zoom in a little bit more, and I'll send you a link to this, Ricky, But if you were to write a little bit of content about Sun Lakes, or maybe even title some of your photos, Sun Lakes, Sun Lakes drywall contractor, things like this, this is going to help. There's ways that you can schedule Google My Business posts. So you could do that and mention Sun Lakes, right? It's going to help you move this stuff. And I'll show you, and this is where I would go into what we did. Like, hey, this is what we did in Los Angeles for our drywall stuff. And here's our heat map, and here's the phone calls that have come in, right? So just like we talked about. So let's take a look down here, and let's look at some of the competitors that you have, Ricky. So I'm going to go over to this averages tab, and what this does is it's going to tell me my average score in these different areas. And you can see this. Maybe you've heard of Patchmaster Drywall Rep. So these guys are the guys. These guys are the top dog in town for this drywall contractor term, which I think is a great term to rank for. And you can see that you guys are actually fourth, right? So this company here is first for this area. They have an average score of 2.98. Adobe has a 4.21. This First Choice has a 6.33. And then you're just behind them with a 6.35. We can actually take a look and see what their map looks like. So this is what they look like. You can see in this like Gilbert and Chandler area, they're crushing it. And this is where there's a ton of people and a lot of really nice houses. So I think it's important. Some of these changes, you could really start to bring some people in from this. If you have some more questions, man, I'd love to help you. One thing I did notice on your site is that you have this testimonials page, and on your actual Google My Business, you have 20 reviews. I would recommend let people know. You guys have worked hard to earn these reviews. Let people know about it. This is an asset. This will help you close more deals and like get it. You can get them in there if you need a pointer on it. You know, I'd be willing to tell you how we did it, right? Something like that. So that's what I would be doing, and I would put this and I would post it into the group. So this appears to be a gift. It's like a Trojan horse that you're dropping into the group. This appears to be for Ricky, but you've done it in a way, and the people, if you choose the right person within the group, they like Ricky because he's in there like being active and trying to help people. And it makes sense why you would do this. But if they like Ricky, they're probably also more likely to watch your video. And what's going to come through is that you have the skill set to move this. And the reason that you're doing it in a group with 12,000 people is now you have a lot of eyes and a lot of opportunities to get in it. And here's another strategy that you can do, the Russian bot strategy, right? If you have like friends or people on your team that are also in this group, go and comment on it and be like, oh my God, that's awesome. Like, Spencer, this is like, I'd love to talk to you about my business. Just like the group think is powerful, right? And you can start to build a lot of trust with this, where you're kind of like stacking the deck in your favor. You don't have to do that second part. It can be effective, especially if you want to start the tone on the post, right? I think it was, Alfredo, is that what you were doing? You said that you were using the heat map. Did you do something similar?
Yeah, exactly. I messed mine up and it went pretty well, but almost verbatim. Mine wasn't out of a group, but it was out of Upwork. But same, apples, green apple, red apple.
Yeah. Yeah. So this strategy has worked not only for Spencer and Alfredo. I know there's a number of other people that have been in here on these calls, but we've also done this. This is something we started a year ago. And this is the same strategy that Adam McChesney used and Jared Miller. If you guys know those guys. And it was very, very effective for them. Part of it is going to be in the delivery, right? We're not all going to get the same results. But I'll tell you, your ability to deliver this and to make it smooth and kind of position things and say things the right way just gets better every single time you do it. Like, I've done it a ton of times. So like, it comes out easy for me. But it wasn't always that way. And if you're like stumbling through it, don't be discouraged, because that's a step that you have to take to be like, that's what you have to do. You're not supposed to be awesome at it from the beginning. Right. Cool. Mr. Jeff, catch me up. Do we have anything I missed here? Questions?
Well, there were a couple before you started on that. I haven't seen any specifically. Jordan's been kind of rapping with people in the chat a little bit, but one of the questions from before was, can you show how to onboard a client into the CRM, and could you import it from the GMB Heat Map Data? I don't know what he means by that. I think Alfredo, you asked this question, right? Maybe you can elaborate a little bit.
Yeah. So in other words, let's say that particular client that we did a heat map, like, cool, I want to get you, as your client. How to utilize the CRM, like maybe moving that information that's already there to the CRM part. And then kind of twofold question is, in the CRM, is there like, if my onboarding is on there, like shoot off email, like, okay, this form, boom, boom, right within the CRM.
Mhm.
That
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. So let me share this again. When you're onboarding them, the positioning game doesn't stop, right? If you do this correctly, then you have the ability to kind of make demands on your clients, right? Like, hey, we're very selective with who we work with. This is how I was doing it when I was onboarding people. We don't work with everyone. We're very selective. We have some requirements because when you're going fast and you're kind of like the bruiser on the kickball field, you don't want to work with the weenie. And that's how we are. We're the bruiser, we're the ringer. We want to crush it. And I need your help when we do that. So this is what we require of our clients. And if this isn't for you, don't worry about them saying, okay, I'm not going to do that. Like, that's probably not, I've never heard that. So they're already sold, right? So this is what I need from you. I need some addresses. I'm not local to Phoenix and you are. And all we need is a spot where we can mail some postcards, right? So we get a lot of our clients to get us the addresses. It sucks that sometimes it doesn't convert because they're like reaching out to who knows who, and like they might not get them. Those things can get thrown away. They don't show up, who knows, but we've got a ton of them that way. Also, you want to set the tone with the reviews. Like, hey, when you guys explain to them, sell them on why they should be getting the reviews. Like, when we work with you, everything we send you, if it's an SEO client, that's obvious, they're getting everything that comes through. But if it's a lead gen client, which I would recommend you move SEO clients to lead gen clients. Like, there's never been an SEO, like, we don't do SEO clients in our agency. We have one, and all the other ones are lead gens. And of those people, 0 of them came to us and said, hey, I want you to build a site that you own and I just pay you forever on. No one ever says that, right? But they'll come in with this SEO idea and you need to position it so that it makes sense that they do lead gen instead of SEO. Okay, that's a whole another conversation. But once we have that, what we're going to do is like, hey, we have an onboarding system and I'm going to send you a questionnaire. So if you come over here and you go to the CRM questionnaires, you can create your questionnaire. We have one that we use that is asking them, like, we're going to start off with like information about their business, the name of their business, their email address, like, where do you want leads forwarded to? What email address do you want leads forwarded to? What phone number? So you can ask all these questions through this system. You can build out whatever you want. If you click on custom fields, you can create a text field, check boxes. Maybe the check boxes will be like, check the services that you provide, industrial, residential, commercial, like whatever. You can have industry specific questionnaires. Two of the questions that I would love for you guys to put on this questionnaire that we send to every client is, list the cities that you want to target in priority order. List the services that you want to target in priority order, because you need to look at that and build out the strategy based on what they want. And like, look at the cities that they're going after, pay attention. Like, usually that will do some of the legwork for you, where you're going to know that they know the demographics of the areas that they want to target, right? So if you can look at those, I don't really like to build a site if there's less than like 70K, but really 100K people in that area. If we start getting more than that, then I'm like, that justifies a site for me. And JP doesn't build the sites, and sometimes he does like the Google site. In our agency, we do it. It's worked really well for us. I know that we've lost GMBs where we don't have a GMB, and calls continue to come in from the organic ranking. And I've also noticed as my organic ranking improves, my Google My Business seems to like follow it. So a couple things that I've noticed, but there's a million ways to be good at this. And building that strategy based on the information they give you is really important. So we send out this questionnaire right away, and we let them know that, you know, our entire team is going to look at this. We have an assembly line. This is going to, and I would even tell them like, hey, we've had clients that we've had to chase around to get this questionnaire filled out. And we've had ones that fill it out right away for us. The ones that have taken the 10 or 15 minutes that it takes to fill this thing out has translated into more money in their pocket because we're able to better build our strategy around it. So I would encourage you to take the time, fill this thing out, and our entire team can benefit from having it. So that would be kind of the onboarding process. If they have like an existing Google My Business, then you know, you're going to maybe want to have them add you as a manager into that or something like that. So that, and then I would add it into the system. So once you have it added into the system, if you don't have your Google My Business API set up, Alfredo, you would come down here, go to research, and then go to Google, and then I think Google Accounts. You see here. Yeah, so go to Google Accounts and click on Add Account right here. And then you can add, oops, I'm sorry. That's not going to get you the API. We need to go here. Yeah. All right. So apply for this API. I think it's taking us between a week and 2 weeks for this thing to go, but this will trigger a sequence of events, and we'll go and actually get this. And then you can add in the Google My Businesses. Alfredo, I know that was kind of like a scattered answer. Did that address your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Perfect.
Okay. Awesome, man. Good to hear. All right. Mr. Jeff, do we have any questions out there?
Lisa is asking a rando question. Does anybody have any experience growing travel agencies? She has some ideas, but would love to hear feedback. I've never dealt with a travel agent. Have you, Patric?
I have not. You know, it's hard to not tell you what I'm thinking on this one.
Right.
I would be careful. Like part of the you're going to have all these, you've kind of got like a road, right? And you're driving down this road and you're like, hey, I'm driving from like, whatever. I'm driving from Phoenix to LA. And I know like the straight path that's going to get me there. And I was actually talking to Devin a little bit about this earlier this week, is like, there's going to be these little roads along the ways. And sometimes you're going to drive by them and it's going to look like there's this really awesome place to go. And it might not be what you think it is. And that's what comes to mind with this travel agency thing, is the ability to pass some of these avenues without getting sucked into them it's kind of like it's equally as important to like saving your time from going down this pathway that is going to waste your time. Is like, that's worth a lot of money, even if it doesn't, it seems like you're giving something up in the beginning. So I would be wary of that. Travel agencies, it's my personal opinion, that's uneducated on the subject of travel agency, but is educated on niche selection, is that is going to be a tough one to rank in. I think it is, you're going to be competing against a lot of big players there. It might be a hard one for you to own a lead gen in. It may like gravitate towards SEO. I think if you were to record your time that you work on SEO and run that against your hours, you'll find that your hourly rate is so much worse than lead gen. And it's like, we get tempted because it's like carrots like right out in front of us. And it's like hard to just say, I don't want that. And let me continue on this like pathway that I had planned out. And a lot of people, they go down every single one of those roads, and then they come back to the main road, which is like owning this stuff in the rank and rent model. And after so long, after you've gone down like 5 or 6 of those, you'll realize like, I'm not going down those anymore. And I'm just going to like go to my original destination, which like, I've seen a lot of people that have been in this business model for just as long as me, that have the same skill set, that are like not doing nearly as much revenue because they haven't been able to say no to those things. So I think that's a valuable lesson. And I know your question was for advice on travel agency, but I would just like, it's hard for me to not like give you my honest opinion on that. And it seems treacherous to me. But other than that, maybe someone else has some great advice on travel agency stuff.
Yeah, stay away.
Somebody else was asking about CBD GMBs, and it's like, I don't know, you can buy CBD in a grocery store. Like what, I don't understand why people or how it's done. Like, how can you make money?
Delivery.
You can, but I don't, it's not my niche. You know what I mean? I don't know.
CBD delivery, it does really well.
Cool. Well, that must be what they're talking about then.
But just get ready for them to get flagged and taken down.
Right.
Yeah, you guys go for the path of least resistance. Like that's my advice. I gave this example to Devin the other day on a call. It's like, when I was playing poker for a living, a lot of times there would be like 4 or 5 pros that would show up and sit at my table. And I like had this thought of my, like, I could beat these guys and I could, like, if I sit here and focus and like lock down, like I felt like I had an advantage over them. But over at this other table, there's like a bunch of people I've never seen before. Like, you don't have to play against football against Tom Brady, right? Like, you could go play against the neighborhood team that's just like scrimmaging. You get to choose what direction you go in. And like, if you create a lead gen that is bringing in leads, like finding a client is usually not a big deal. If you have something of value, what's hard is like, if you try to sell somebody a Ferrari when you don't own one, it's hard, right? Like, hey, let me just tell you about this awesome car that I can't show you. But if you have it, it's a lot easier to sell. And if you so like, I would say focus attention on creating the asset. And then like, if you build it, they will come. Like you'll be able to find people. And if you do it in a niche where the leads are worth a lot of money, like $750, $1,000 average ticket price, like we've moved up to 2,000. Like, if you produce a good amount of leads that have that average ticket price, you get paid a lot of money for it, right? And a lot of times those websites are easier to rank. And if you choose something that's obscure, then you don't have to worry about like it being spammed out and Google scrutinizing it like crazy. And the business owners, more often than not, are going to be sophisticated, right? So if you what's required to start a carpet cleaning company, right? Like, you need a van, because you can go rent a carpet cleaner at Home Depot and then you have a business. So that's going to be very competitive because the barrier to entry is very low. What's required for like installing swimming pools, like the ones that you actually dig, not like an above ground one. Like there's a lot that goes into that, right? There's probably going to be a license. You're going to need all sorts of heavy equipment. You're going to need experience. You probably have multiple, like a crew with a bunch of people doing different things. That's a hard thing to get into. The competition goes down. The lead value is up. Somebody that's invested that much money is more sophisticated, which is the type of people that I like to work with personally. I love the licensed trades because it gets the riffraff out of it.
Hey, Patrick, if it's okay, if I can add to that.
Yeah, for sure.
So I always tended to be drawn to like services that can be done like the same day. I've worked in water damage, roofing, and it was such a pain in the ass. Like with water damage, by the time they got their insurance claim, like I didn't get paid out for like 90 days. And even if that, and they would hedge. So I always went after like my niches that I went after was the stuff that I knew that I was going to get paid like that day or the next day.
Yeah, the sales cycle is definitely important.
Yeah.
Like I didn't do the same day, but I've done like I like.
Well, I'm saying like the job, like a plumber goes out,
Yeah.
can get that job done that day. Like water damage, it's like 2 or 3 weeks long. Sometimes.
Yeah. Which that might be the same with the travel agency thing too, is that that person might book and they might not. Yeah, I don't know. They might not take
travel agencies don't get paid for like 30 days sometimes. So it's like,
yeah, that's too long. Especially like my goal is to always be putting people on a flat fee, because I think that the flat fee is easier to manage, and it's hard to do that if the sales cycle is too long, because especially at the beginning, like they're not getting paid and then they're supposed to be paying you. And if they have to pay a second payment without getting paid from the people from the first one, that's going to be an issue.
Yeah,
that's not
stay
going to
away
go
from white collar. All white collar, stay away from insurance companies, realtors, travel agents, like stay away from all of them.
for sure. I love the blue collar stuff too. I mean, it's like you get to like, I want to compete against like Bob, who owns the plumbing company's nephew, who watched a YouTube video on how to build a website. That's like, I don't want to compete against like Tom Brady. And that's who you're going to run into when you start getting into some of this white collar stuff, where there's like a law firm that's hired an SEO company that maybe is not as good as what we are, but they're like a lot better than someone who's someone's nephew that's just like watch YouTube, right? So like, let's go find those people and let's play against them. Like you, like this, we could do this, right? Like I could jog from, we just came from Nashville, right? So I could jog from Nashville to New York City, or I could take an airplane. Like I'm going to choose the easier one, right? And like, it's not an ego thing. I'm just like, we have so much time here. And I think some of you guys don't realize the tough situation that you guys put yourselves in with some of these decisions and the implications of these and what you're giving up, the opportunity costs of going down a niche that's not like, it's prevented you from going into a good niche. And we have a limited amount of time, right? So I see Patrick asking about remodeling. I love remodeling. I think
it's just specifically, we're running out of time here. So there's a couple of CRM questions. If you want to answer those, we can go into
actually, you know, Jeff, let's take those. And if you guys can post them in the group.
really simple, quick questions.
Okay.
Pabbly integration. Are you going to do a Pabbly integration? Pabbly?
Yeah, we have that. I've actually spoken to those people, but it's just, it hasn't been, we prioritize other things above it, but it is on our roadmap. It's just a matter of when, just like getting the phone system in there and getting the GMB module back has been higher priorities to automations, but it is coming.
Cool. Second one is, how many heat map searches do you get on the starter plan? We have somebody who potentially is coming over from a competitor and they don't really understand like what the heat map searching is.
Yeah. I
Specifically.
bet I know the competitor. Let me see here. I love to take their clients. I feel like we have a far superior product. One of the ways that they do it is they have this really convoluted grid point, like let me like multiply the amount of points on the grid. Like that's not how we do it. We just like, you get with the starter, I think you get 30. We're actually going to change that to be 50 though, because I just want to make it overwhelmingly obvious to choose ours. One of the things that is important to note, if you want to try to, we essentially match our pricing with the pricing of the competitor that I suspect it's coming over from. And so we have like the same Google My Business feature and the research, but we also have all these other pieces in your reputation management. All the stuff is included at that same price. That's important to know. Also, these heat map searches, they're not like one for one. Like one of ours doesn't equal like one of, let's pretend the competitor's Local Viking. One of ours doesn't equal one of Local Viking. So let me show you why. Because what we can do is I can come in here and click. And then if I want to flip this heat map and see it run, oh, shoot. Thank you. All right. This chat window is aggressive. All right. So if I go through and I click here and I say, show me the rankings at this particular spot. What I can do is I can cycle through the entire map with one search. So if I want to see this one, I can just click on it and it'll flip the map, right? So that doesn't cost me a search. You can basically go through the entire one, which on this one, there might be, I don't know how many are in this heat map. It's like there's 71 people that showed up in here. So you can see the heat map from 71 for one search. You can see the heat map for this case. Sometimes there'll be 40. It just depends on how many people showed up once in here. So you can see the heat map from every single one of these people for one search. But that's how it works. They reset every month. And then I think what we're going to be doing in the near future is changing the limit from 30 to 50 per month, and then have it, those like accumulate over time. So if you like, hey, this month I only use 40, next month you would have 60, they'll roll over, right? For the rest of this year, you have unlimited heat maps if you have a subscription. And it's not like that, like you just need to let our support know if you run out, and then we'll issue you more. But you can do that as much as you want. Run as many as you like. for the rest of this year, and we'll just keep adding them for you. So, yep.
Hey, Patrick, from this screen, if you want to get back to the original search of the client, how do you do that?
Yeah, so you can do a new heat map. Is that what you're asking? How to do a new
So
one?
you originally did it for R&R, but you wanted to show him his
Oh,
competition,
yeah.
so you're out of there. How do I go
Yeah.
back to?
There's a few ways you can do this. If I just refresh the screen, it's going to go back to the original one. I could click on R&R. I can come down here. There's multiple ways to flip that map. So now it's back on R&R, right? I can also do it from this drop-down list. If I search for R&R, right? I don't know if that's them. I don't know if that's how it's registering. Where's that thing? RR. Must be them. Nope. Maybe there's a problem with our search here. But yeah, you can just like find their name on this list down here too, and just click on it. The original, like, you can also go over here to the details and click on this view icon, and that will kind of reset it. So yeah, a lot of ways to get back. Also, guys, from the pitch earlier, take this link right here and share this link with the person. Send them the video, get permission to send them that video. Like, hey, well, if you're doing that group strategy, then don't get permission, but you could share this link in that and let them go through and flip this, because they don't need to be logged in with this link. They can do this. So I'll go to incognito real quick. So I am essentially not logged in at all, right? And if I click on this, then I still have this functionality to look at the averages and flip the heat map. So that's like, we built that specifically to make it easier to prospect, right? You can also send them a PDF if you're like going back with them an email, or you want to give some reporting on a monthly basis. All right, guys, I want to go enjoy. We try to keep these calls at an hour. We're at an hour and a half. I want to go enjoy New York City a little bit. There's a lot of cool stuff going on right outside our window. So I'm going to go have some fun. Hopefully you guys got some value from this. JP, I appreciate you as always, man. Thank you for adding more value to this and helping out everyone on the call. Guys, throw a thank you into the chat for JP. He doesn't have to be on here, but he likes, like me, he likes to help people. So you guys, if you got more questions, throw them in the group. You guys have an awesome week. We have, for those of you guys doing accountability, Steven, let's just hear from you real quick. I know that you're in the accountability. I think we're going to do another one starting on January 1st. I think Devin's also in there. If you could just give me like 10 to 15 seconds, what has your experience been like with this accountability? You feel like it's helped you move forward?
It has absolutely helped me move forward. It's just nice, you know, really having those regularly scheduled conversations with people that are, you know, in the trenches with you. You know, posting in the groups and everything can be good, but it's like when you're having those conversations and you realize, hey, like, I'm not alone doing this, and something you are stuck on, like somebody else like totally has that figured out, and all you had to do was just bring it up. Like, it's crazy. Like, I struggled with GMBs for a long time, and now I'm sending out like 5 a week, and
Yeah,
that in and of itself has been totally worth it. So
awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, very cool. You've got 23 days left to meet your goals, man. Hopefully you can make those happen. Devin, what do you got? 10 seconds on your experience with so far. Should they do it?
Oh, without a doubt. It's helped me move the needle more, going, man, in the next week, if I don't meet my goals, I'm going to be ashamed to see these people. It helps me push me more than just like, oh, this is my business and I need to run my business that way. So
Awesome.
Great motivation.
Very cool. Very cool. I know Neil's in it too, but I want to wrap this call up. So you guys, 7 days. We will see you guys next Wednesday, the 15th. I'll be in Barcelona next week. So yeah, that might be, we might make a shift to make this be a little bit earlier, because that's going to be like 1:30 or something in the morning for me. But yes, I will. I'll see you guys in a week. Do what you got to do. Create your wins. You've got not a lot of time left in this year, and have a week that makes a difference. You guys stay safe, and we'll talk soon. Appreciate you guys. Bye. Okay.